Howdy tubers, welcome back to another Zach Life Machine Shop episode. If you're interested in seeing more machine shop stuff, there is a playlist in the description. Click on that and it'll take you to all these. Talking about my old lathe today. I'm having a problem with it. I've kind of done a video before about it, but it's a pretty cool old Monarch. I believe this is called a hydro shift. I'm not exactly sure. It's pretty cool because it's all hydraulically actuated gear selection. There's a whole bunch of different speed ranges that it'll run. But the immediate problem is it was pretty cold last night, probably in the 20s, and I came up here pretty early this morning, cranked it up, and it started running oil out here. And I noticed the other day it also had a little bit ran out. I didn't notice it while I was running it, but today it was like pouring over the side. And I have had some of this stuff off before. I'm not real proud of the way this machine is made. It doesn't really have any seals. Like if you look down, like there's a hole here. I don't have any idea what this hole is for. If you stick something in there, it just sort of falls into the gears that are back here. It's not, I don't know, whatever. But I'm gonna pull these covers off. It's low in hydraulic oil too. I noticed that when I was using it, it started acting like it was low. It will sort of be really slow to engage the clutch or to disengage the spindle, and it was acting really sluggish. But I'm gonna start pulling these plates off and see if there's a seal, or I don't really remember exactly how this works. I've had this solved once before. See what's going on back here. These are just cast aluminum plates. I believe that you've got to disassemble this from the top down. I don't think you can get this piece out with this one in there. It's got sort of it's not a seal, but it's sort of a drip lip between them. Okay, so I'm not going to get you under here, but I think that this hole right here is the oil return hole. It's got a big hose that comes off the bottom. It's going to be impossible to show y'all, but I bet that it runs back around. This thing on the end here is all the big hydraulic tank. Yeah, so I can see the other end of that hose. This piece right here is a hydraulic tank, and this hose just comes down from right there and runs in the tank. So I wonder if maybe it was just if the oil was too thick or something. It was cold this morning. I actually this calls for light hydraulic oil, and I think I put a bucket of AW68 in it, which is too thick, and it actually kind of made it act funny. Like the spindle was sort of, the engagement was not real smooth. It would sort of hesitate for a second and then lock the clutch in. Perhaps the oil was just too thick. I've never actually worked on this thing. So right here is normally all these are shut. You can see the oil level, and you can see that it's low. It's supposed to be basically to the top, I think, when the machine's sitting still. Use Scotney vacuum DTT light hydraulic oil or equivalent. Drain, clean, and flush every 6 months. Well, it's never been flushed ever since I've owned it, which has been quite a number of years. I think that this is probably a filter up here of some kind. I want to pull the top off this. It's probably not a bad idea. We probably need to go, this probably needs cleaned. I'm going to try to start this thing. I don't know if it's going to sling oil everywhere, what's going to happen here. But I want to run this for a minute and see if I can see anything that looks weird here. Interesting. So what all we got going on here? So I believe the actual hydraulic pump is inside the tank here. And I think what's going on here is this is the pickup, this is a suction, this right here, and it sucks up into here, and then there's a machine channel back to here, and then that tube right there is a pump suction. Sure making a mess here. And then the output of the pump comes back, I guess, to right there. That's the output of the pump, and it goes through this. I'm thinking this is a filter up into here. This is the pressure back to the machine, and then this is the master pressure bypass, is my guess. So when you take this apart, don't take these 4 bolts out, but you got to take all the rest of them. The screen looks clean. I'm assuming this is probably a filter, and I would like to take it apart and look in it. It may need cleaned. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and drain this oil. I may just put the oil back in it, but I want to drain it because there's probably a bunch of slush and stuff at the bottom of this thing, and we'll be able to wipe it out and clean it out real well. I'm assuming this is a filter, maybe some kind of a... So I took that thing apart over there off camera, put it in a vise, and it had this sort of cardboardy filter thing in it. I'm not sure exactly what you call this material. It looks quite fragile. I'm going to wash this out with some carb cleaner or something and put this thing back together. Back together. Next thing I want to do, I'm going to try to drain the oil out of this and see if there's any sludge or whatnot in the bottom. Oh, I got full of a hurry. Okay, I got this cleaned out, got it drained. I've dumped about half of it on the ground. This thing had a bunch of real fine, kind of looked like clutch dust out of a transmission, and then there was a bunch of paint. They painted the inside of everything, sort of coming apart. But nothing bad. I mean, it was really pretty clean considering. I'm gonna get a bucket of oil and go ahead and dump some oil in it, and we'll slap the top back on it and hopefully be back in business. That says to use, quote, light hydraulic oil. To me, that means AW32, so that's what I'm putting in it. I think it had 46 in it before. It's not even up on the sight glass yet. I think I can just dump it right here. I think I'm gonna go ahead and crank it up. Well, I better pull you off there first though. You fix it, go around in circles. Well, it apparently was low because I drained 3.5 gallons out of it and I put 10 back in it, and it's still not quite full. It's right there, you probably can't see it, but let's crank it up and see what happens here. Milky, it's just got air bubbles in it, it's just aerated. There's a bunch of oil moving through there. I do think the only thing wrong was that I had too thick a hydraulic oil, and it just simply ran this over. It was pretty cold. But we got the oil changed and the tank cleaned out, and the filter cleaned and whatnot, and probably in good shape. I would love to disassemble this machine because it's so hydraulically complicated. It's just mind-blowing, all the things that it does. I guess that probably comes off. We may have to do that one day. I would like to do another video on this, but just sort of take this apart, figure out how some of this stuff works. Like I say, I'm not super proud of how this oiling system works. It does have O-rings, I guess, in the front here. But it's weird that it doesn't have seals here, and this is sort of open. I don't really like that, but I guess it is from the 50s. Compare this to a 50s model's car. I would like to do I need to do a whole episode on this. I wanted to talk about it. It is a really cool machine. I'd like to pull the top off and kind of look it over. But what's so cool about it is that it's all hydraulically controlled to kick the chuck in and out, to change speeds, you know, to make it run or kick it into neutral. You just select whatever RPM you want, pull up on the clutch handle, and it changes gears automatically. Push down and off she goes. And if you're sitting there running and you want to kick the clutch into freewheel, let's get it zinging here. If you got it running and you want to kick the clutch into freewheel, you can pull out on this. This disengages it. You'll notice it'll automatically kick the clutch handle up, stop the spindle, and then as soon as the spindle stops, it's freewheel. I think it's still got air in it. It's not disengaging correctly. There it went. When you stop it, it stops it and then it locks it down. It won't move. But when you kick this into free, then it lets it freewheel. Enough about this machine. I got to go back to work. I'm building some stuff. You've probably already seen it. Time this comes out, I'm not sure, but I want to do a whole video on this lathe at some point. It's pretty cool.